of the Mac.
And Cheetos.
Return of the Mac.
About the world. Yo.
I saw the commercial say this is the greatest commercial.
He literally says, and Cheetos. You can tell it's him too. I was like, yo, they really got Mark Morrison up in here to do it.
That's
too.
his voice. Oh yeah, that's him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was already making money on that shit. So you need to tell me, all I gotta do is give you the rights to the video, the rights to the song, and my voice, and I'm just gonna get checks.
All I have to do is record and Cheetos instead.
Yep. Literally, I'm gonna say 3 words.
I can do that in my basement.
2 words.
I can do that in my basement.
And Cheetos.
I can do that in my basement.
On my phone.
I can do that on my phone. I can do that on my phone in the basement. Oh my god. They left that part in it too where he says, oh my god, they left that part. Oh my god, they left that part in it. That's the best. That is so awesome that they left. Too sweet. Hi, welcome to JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's the way. You can find our personal Twitters at the show's Twitter page, which is @_JD Sports. Thank you for watching on YouTube if you are. If you would like to listen to us on SoundCloud, Dwight, tell them how they can get there.
Hit up soundcloud.com/JD Sports Show.
So I know I hit you with that every week. I kind of like our little plug there. We're not like an official show or anything like that. So like for us to be able to, you know, I mean that's kind of that makes us feel real, I guess, right? So
makes us feel like Max.
Return of the Mac.
So can I get a Burger King sponsor?
Hey, can I get any sponsor? I'll take a Brugus, Ted's, Burger King.
No, well, I'm just saying.
Shout out to the local bars in the Harrisburg area.
I know you watching out there.
Some of them. So, speaking of, those are sports bars that we just shouted out. Speaking of sports, I guess that's what our show is.
Is that what I talk about?
Man, as into a lot of, we're into music, we're into sports, we have a lot of interests, okay? But like music and sports are our biggest thing.
Yeah.
I very few weeks do we walk into a show that we are doing and not have like a ton of topics to go into. Like usually there is, I have a rundown. Yeah, but usually I have like a rundown. This is the shortest rundown I've ever had, but I feel like there's a lot for us to both dive into. As you said, there's a lot of controversial topics that you think that could probably get a little rise out of me, though I'm hoping it doesn't.
It's cute that you say that.
Look, the NBA playoffs.
The what?
Yeah, NBA playoffs.
I don't know what that is.
Alright, so I have 2 different things here. Do you want me to go into like my random topic that has to do with the NBA before we just start talking about the actual things? Because like I do have a random weird thing that ties in with the NBA that I feel like...
Okay, what's the random thing?
Alright. You don't watch college sports as much as I do, or as much as a lot of people in general, like that watch sports the way that we do. But you do understand the side of when everyone, a lot of us, are on the side of these college players should get paid, right? We wish the college players had more.
Definitely.
We all do, and you agree.
They'll use my likeness if I'm not going to get paid for it.
Right, so we all agree that we wish the college players would have more power, right? Power is the best way to put this. We wish that they had more power over their own, not just sports. Okay.
Pay me. Yeah.
Across the board, the NBA playoffs have been boring, people call it, yes?
Trash, yes.
And a lot of people are dedicating that to because it's a player-run league and these players have made super teams, quote-unquote. We can go into the reasons of that at a different time. But just humor me on the sense of we don't like the fact that these players have come together on their own. They picked that they were going to have these super teams, okay?
Right.
So we don't like the fact that these college players have no power, but we also don't like these NBA players who have too much power. And that's not you, because I don't like... I wasn't trying to start an argument saying that you're on the side of this topic. But all I'm hearing is we hate the playoffs and we can't stand that KD went to Golden State and they couldn't stand when LeBron went to Miami, and they can't stand that these teams are coming together and these players are choosing these things and blah, blah, blah. But my other thing is like, so we have the NBA where they have all the power in the world. The players run the league. My favorite part about the NBA is that the players run the league. And my biggest problem with the NCAA is that the players don't have any say in anything.
Zero.
But the issue is I'm on the side of both of those that, well, if they don't have enough power, then that means I want them to have all the power, right?
Yeah.
I'm finding myself in arguments with people who want college players to have more power and NBA players to have less power, and I'm trying to figure out, what do they want then? Because do you want the players to have power, or do you want them to not have power? Because you can only have one or the other. We can't say college players wish they had more power, NBA players wish they had less power. That's two different sides of the fence, and you're only allowed to stand on one, or else you're literally split down the middle. And I'm okay if you would rather it be down the middle, where you want some kind of structure, but you also want these players to get, because what you put it the best way. Their likeness is people are getting paid off of their likeness. And that's probably the best way for me to say the only common ground between me and those people that I have an issue with is, at least we all agree with the likeness portion of this. Now, they can fall back on, we want them to get paid for their likeness, but we don't want them to be able to choose that kind of stuff. Where I'm like, well, you can't have it one way and eat your cake, and you know what I mean, too, as well. Like, I look at it as, if you're going to give them everything, then give them everything. Don't just give them a little. Like, what's the point in saying, hey, you can have your likeness, but you still can't do this, this, and this? Like, and that's why I'm okay with the NBA being the way it is, because I'm like, hey, who makes the money? Who is the reason that we go to games? Not we, but that fans go to games. Why are we sitting here talking about this? Because of Kevin Durant, because of LeBron James, because of Kobe Bryant. Because we do this because of players. I like Allen Iverson more than I've liked any person in the organization structure, including Larry Brown of the 76ers, ever. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I'm on the side of, I'm cool with players having all the power in the world. Even college players, which obviously we all agree that they should have more power. But I look at it as these are two extremes that everybody seems to be on the same side of all of them. And I'm like, well, if we're on one side of one, then you can't be on the other side of the other. I do understand we want more competitiveness, but isn't that on the players then who become... Because, look, the reason we have two super teams at this exact moment, what?
Keep going.
The reason I feel like we have two super teams at this moment is because basically they got tired of fighting one entity, the same way that in the 90s everyone got tired of fighting the Bulls, the Houston Rockets in the mid-90s, the Pacers, the Knicks. They're all teams that players came together. They were like, all right, well, the only way we can't beat them by ourselves. We're all going to come. Charles Barkley is a big proponent of, he hates the super teams, right? He hates that these players came together.
Can we just time out? Because you just went on this long soliloquy, and it's...
I was going to go back to the college. I was going to go back to the college thing.
10 different times. Hold on, time out.
I was going to add it back into the college.
Time out. Because you've asked me like 3 different things, and time out. Because you kind of have made my point, which you're saying power. Shh, time out.
What was I going to say?
Shocking, because you're saying power. I think you're having 2 different arguments in and of yourself. Like, you are literally, I feel like what you just said, you just argued with yourself.
Okay.
I don't think the argument is that these players, as in these college players and these pro players, have too much power. Maybe on the NBA side, that is the argument. But on the college side, I don't think it's necessarily these players have too much power. I think
they don't have enough is what I was arguing.
On these college sides, I don't think that it's saying they need more power over here but less over here. I don't think that's the argument. I think the argument over here on the college side is we just need our money, like pay me for my likeness, blah blah this and that. And they kind of do have power, like they do, like you do see transfers, you do see these people jumping to the NBA. I don't know what you're getting at as far as saying...
I'm glad you brought up the transfers, because actually
we don't have power. The college players do have a lot of power. The problem is they're not being compensated for their likeness, for their name. Okay. I think that's the issue, which is completely separate from the NBA.
But here's my thing, is that we were just talking about the transfers. My issue with the NCAA and transfers, because I was going to bring up past the likeness, because I know I was arguing with the whole other side of the likeness. That's why I brought that up, because I do understand where people can get lost in the black and white version of this. The thing is, when it comes to the transfers, coaches tomorrow can transfer from Clemson. The head coach of Clemson, not that Dabo Swinney would just pick up and leave Clemson, but the head coach of Clemson could go be the head coach of Auburn tomorrow. Just like that. He could tell Clemson to F off and go be the head coach of Auburn tomorrow. Where the problem is the player... If he wants to go play from Clemson to Auburn, he has to wait 1.5 years to do that minimum. And that's my biggest issue, is where we want to pay these players. But I'm looking at it in the sense of we need to give them more power. Look, if a coach can just up and bail because things aren't going well, why can't a player just up and bail because things aren't going well in the NCAA?
That sounds like that's your argument. I don't feel like that's what everybody's arguing.
But
I feel like everybody's arguing the money aspect. Nobody's looking at it from you going way deep, which I'm not saying it's a wrong thing, but you're going
But that's
way
my point,
deep
is that
into
if
it.
we're going to open the can of worms of paying them, then we need to open up the can of worms of giving them power.
Why?
So we're going to just pay them but not give them any sense of kind of power?
I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm trying to figure out why, because I feel like that goes way deeper than what most people. I feel like more people are arguing the fact that they're not getting paid.
But that's my bigger problem with it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is your big issue, and maybe other people. But I feel like you're in the minority with that argument. I feel like the bigger issue is the money. And does that open that can of worms that you're talking about? Sure, but I don't think that's what anybody's looking at.
But again, what is the reason we want to pay them? Because everyone's making money off of them, of course, right? The same reason that players in the NBA want the power to be able to choose where they're going or that kind of stuff is because they are the product. So I don't understand what the difference of paying these players and allowing them to freely reign the way coaches and other people do. Look, if there were sanctions on other people, other humans, from doing the same thing they are and leaving these kids out to dry, I would be completely okay with there being sanctions on the kids to be left out to dry like that, as long as there was sanctions for other people to be left out to dry. The problem is, if we're going to start paying them and giving them power, then we should be paying them and giving them the power of the player, because at the end of the day, even if we pay them, Dabo Sweeney's still allowed to quit the next day, even if we pay them 5 years from now.
Sure. These are also kids out here.
And I don't disagree with that. And you were bringing up the how what, at 19 you can go to the NBA now? Look, I've been hearing nothing but arguments about how now you need to, just like the NFL, let them play in college for 3 years. And then, look, I disagree with that, because we don't have a Kobe Bryant. If there isn't, you can go right from high school to the NBA. We don't have a Kevin Garnett. We don't have LeBron being the way he was. Because LeBron's legacy is completely different if he has to go to college. Kobe's legacy is different if he has to go to college, yes? He might not end up a Laker. I mean in the sense of not end up winning the amount of championships he did, because he went to a great organization, an organization that is always prepared to build a championship team, that is always able to put something around him.
I still won't say that it wouldn't have benefited Kobe, and to your point is saying, well, it might not have blah, 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 but if Kobe's early years weren't that good. Yeah, he had a great rookie year, but...
I don't disagree. With the exception of...
I'm saying,
as
a Lakers fan, as a Kobe Bryant fan...
did not do well in the NBA.
As a Lakers fan, as a Kobe Bryant fan, yes, I would have much rather Kobe have gone, I don't know how long, go to college for however long, and then come in with that experience. And maybe you get the championship, quote-unquote, quicker as a younger player. Okay. You know, maybe the Lakers suck for another year, whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
We had Shaq and we went to, as deep as we did with him by himself.
Totally agree and understand that. Totally agree and understand that. I meant on the sense of, because you're not wrong, they mature more if they stay in for a year or two. Look, Andrew Wiggins is a better basketball player now because of it. There's no question.
Yeah, 99% of the time, you're not going to get the Kobe's, the Garnett's, the whatevers, the LeBrons coming out of college and just dominating, which they really did outside of LeBron, let's be real.
LeBron's the only one who played well at 18 years old, I agree.
And even he could have
he struggled. He could have used a year in college.
He could have still used some time to mature and to get better, maybe defensively or whatever. It's more so it seems to be on the defensive end.
It's because they're not filled out physically.
Right, plus they're scrawny 19-year-old kids.
I was going to say, at 18 years old, you just physically can't be as filled out as a 26-year-old.
They're out there looking like KD out here when he first got in the league.
Seriously, could you imagine LeBron playing any college player right now? Like, you're not wrong. Physically, these kids are... No, and I understand, and I'm not even just saying...
As a kid, he would have fit right in. He would have still dominated, but he would have grown into himself.
I agree.
He would have gained that weight, gained the experience, gained the defense.
It
only benefits.
Even if you take it off a LeBron scale, a point guard in college, most of them struggle with, like, even a Drew Holiday. Do you know what I mean? Like where... Because of just his skill set, he's 26, 27 years old. He's filled out now. He's able to kind of push people around who are physically smaller than him at 17, 18, 19 years old. I mean, that's just how it goes. So you're not wrong. And to your point, Kobe rode the bench until, almost the last month and a half of the season of his rookie year. Yeah, and then the last month and a half, he came out, finally started putting everything in.
I'm pretty sure Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones will start,
Yes, over Kobe.
Yeah, right.
And Kobe had the better shot.
It made sense at that point.
Kobe had the better shot, just Kobe couldn't physically hold up defensively. To your point, the defensively is their biggest issue. And I'm not against you because...
And if he gets that college experience, maybe he comes in and he starts right away.
Because I know you're going to laugh at this. You know how much I like LeBron. His rookie year, I was a Melo guy. So I was like... Mm-hmm. Well, LeBron can't play as good as defense as Melo. That was my argument all
He
year,
could.
right? And that was
He
factual.
was scrawny, skinny,
Now,
whatever-year-old LeBron, yeah.
right, 18 years old, and like there was no way he was going to play as good as, and that's why he got a rookie of the year over him.
I'd show off too if I was facing Mike Bibby's late, Sacramento Kings on my opener,
And that was the
no
thing
disrespect
is that
to my Bibby, but at that point, come on. Now.
LeBron's offensive game was so skilled inside at 18
Weber was gone.
that we all looked at that was like not just his first game. I mean, his whole first year is like, oh well, look what he did offensively, and no one was talking about his defense, and I was like, well, his defense isn't it what ready for a joke? What Melo's is like, you know what I mean? And now that's obviously a joke because Melo defensively can't hold a candle to him. But at 18 years old, it felt like Melo was going to be the better defensive player because that's what I saw. I was also a young kid at the time, but
no, it was accurate because Melo was also a much better scorer.
Right at that time, without question, he was more physical,
Still
prepared. Yeah, I think he's a better scorer now. I agree with that. I don't think Melo can do anything.
Let's clarify, shooter.
I agree. I don't think Melo can do anything outside of shoot the basketball better than LeBron, but I think LeBron
not 2017.
Right, and that's where I was going with. But okay, so anyways, broader point. I don't disagree that. I'm okay if you want to make these kids wait a year or two to go into the NBA. That's completely fine with me.
Yeah,
I was looking at it. Yeah. My broader point was, if we're going to give them any kind of power, I don't look at it as, I think either you give them all the power or you give them none of the power. Like, I don't like the way the MLB is structured overall because, yes, the Bryce Harpers and the Mike Trouts that we're talking about, without question, they get all the money and they have all the power. But when you're looking at a guy who is a middle of the road, going to play 3 or 4 years in the MLB, probably a minor league lifer overall, and they don't have this kind of power that... I'm a player guy. Like, in the NFL is probably the best...
say.
We all know that. We all know that, and that's why my biggest issue is with this. Like, there is no guaranteed contracts in the NFL. There is no guaranteed contracts in basketball. There is no guaranteed contracts in the NHL. So my biggest thing is if... The greatest thing about the NBA that I think is better than the rest of them is that even though there isn't a guaranteed contract, the players still have the most power to influence the way the league is structured. And what I think is going to happen is either when LeBron retires and he's not just monopolizing the East, which is what has happened now, then maybe we'll find our competitive balance, or I think there's going to be a structure of 5 to 10 power teams year in and year out, not the same franchises, but over a 15-year span, you're going to have 5 to 10 teams that are always going to be the power teams because they're always going to have the physical money, and now everyone's going to go the opposite way. What we can all honestly hope for, as much as I love LeBron, is that 10 years from now there's nothing physically like LeBron out there that's monopolizing one side of this, because the Warriors don't come together with Kevin Durant without LeBron on the other side. At least the West keeps trying to fight each other, and then the East would have a whole different structure. And could you imagine if the Celtics were the best team right now in the East? Like we would all just assume the West is going to dominate no matter who comes out of it, Houston, the Spurs, or Golden State. But I don't think it's structurally set up that way outside of the Spurs. If there isn't a LeBron on the other side, that's a whole different conversation for a whole different day. My point is, I want the NCAA players, if we're going to give them any power, I say give them all the power. Why give them half the power? Why give them a third of the power? Why give them any power if you're not just going to give them all the power? People have a problem with the NBA players having all the power, and that's my biggest thing is, like, I hear that we're mad at these people for having no power, but we're mad at these people for having too much power. What do we want as a society? It seems like that's an issue for a lot of things, but this is, like, I just... And on top of it, the competitive side, just to even rule out the whole power thing, we got guys like, and not to call Charles Barkley out, who I like, Charles Barkley saying things like, well, I don't like that these players are creating their own teams and going to super teams, and you didn't see that back in my day, blah, blah. He went from the Suns to the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets won the championship the year before. They had Kenny.
He was way past his prime.
He was past his prime, but Kenny the Jet Smith wasn't, and Elijah Wan wasn't. But they were a super team before he got there, and then a top 10 player in the NBA, who he was. They won the NBA Finals, and he went to the team who won the NBA.
Dallas Mavericks, the super team when they won a couple years ago.
I'm not saying that it makes
relax.
This is where I'm going.
Strong, of course, as always.
This is where I'm going with this.
It was a super team.
Charles
Barkley was way past his prime.
Did Houston?
It is not the same thing. Don't even.
Charles Barkley was the best player on the Suns when Houston beat them the year before, right?
Yeah, on the Suns.
But my point is, Houston beat the Suns 2 years in a row. He was the best player on the Suns, and then he went and joined that team, right? Did he not?
I don't know. Sure. I don't know his exact
yes.
word.
Was he the same man?
Look it up. Yes or no?
No, not.
There you go.
My point is,
It was a super
he
team.
keeps calling out players. He literally called out. I heard it again, literally as of the day of this
a
recording.
lot of contract bullshit. Like, I don't know.
And I don't disagree with that, but not with the Suns. He got mad at Kevin Durant for leaving Oklahoma City and going for the team
So
that
did
beat him. And
everybody.
saying, my point is he did the same exact thing. If he's gonna be mad at these players for doing the same thing he did, and it's not just him.
Barkley
I
was
like
27
Charles
years old,
Barkley.
26 years old.
He was still a
in my
top 10
prime.
player in the NBA, and they just won the championship the year before, and they didn't even make the championship the year after. They would have lost to MJ. We all know they would have lost to MJ. MJ, the greatest player of all time, would have beat that super team if they were a super team. You said they weren't a super team. Whatever, then they weren't a super team. Then MJ would have beat him by more than I thought they would have. Don't matter.
He was way past his prime, and he even admits it. Yeah.
In 96, 97, I
Yes,
agree
yes,
that he was
way
past his prime.
So that doesn't make that a super
Not
team.
way past. Look, his prime was 94, 95. Let's not say he was way past his prime. He was only 3. He was only 3 years out of his prime.
His numbers were completely different.
He was only 2 or 3 years out of his prime. He was still the best team on his team the year before that lost in the Western Conference Finals.
He just had an oxymoron in of itself.
They lost in the Western Conference Finals.
I've heard about 8 times that you just told me. He was also, statistically, Mr. Numbers guy. Go look it up. He was not the same player.
2.5, 3 years out of his prime.
My man just said he was only 2 to 3 years out of his prime.
He was still doing all right.
That's not an oxymoron at all.
He was still doing all right. I'm not saying he was.
That doesn't make it a
I'm not
super
saying he was a
team.
top 5 player, but he was still a top 10, top 15 player. Yes.
I don't know.
At that time, he was a top 10, 15 player
I'm
in
not
the
going
league.
to try to even
My
pretend I
point
know
is,
that
he was mad at players for doing it. He chased the ring. He chased the ring. Did he not chase a ring? Him leaving.
Yeah, that was like Gary Payton and Karl Malone going to the Lakers. No,
Okay.
it's not the same thing. That's like it was not the same
But weren't they chasing a ring?
Yeah, they were chasing a ring.
They're
but
from the same era that he claims that they never did that back in that era. They didn't do that in that era. They didn't chase rings back then. They built things with their teams. That's according to Charles Barkley. They built things with their teams, and they stayed on their teams forever. And good old, we hated each other back then.
And he said 3 players past their prime.
I don't disagree, but they were chasing
so
rings.
there
All
you
3
go.
of them were
There you
chasing
go.
rings, yes?
Yeah, 3 players past their prime. It's not the same thing.
Well, so
Not
they
at all.
weren't smart enough to chase
Yeah.
rings in their prime? That's
Oh,
not my
yeah.
fault they didn't call MJ up. That's not my fault.
Okay.
That's not LeBron's fault. That's not KD's fault. That's not Steph Curry's fault. That's not Dwayne Wade's fault. That's not any of these players' fault that they didn't come to the conclusion in the 90s that they have more control than these owners.
10 minutes into your feelings?
I just don't. Why are these people so mad at it? I think it's good that these players have control over the NBA. I want my players to have control of the league, whether it's competitive or not. You know what we're going to be saying in 20 years? Oh, well, we got to see the Cavs versus the Golden State 3 times in a row. We're not going to be talking about things that happened during the playoffs until that finals. We're just going to talk about the finals of 2017. We're not going to talk
I don't
about
know.
the
We
playoffs.
probably are because people are saying the Bulls didn't have that type of ride. So, yeah, we probably will be saying, well, they walked through it. Yes, we will be talking
See,
about
my thing with the Bulls is like the Bulls, right? Because now this is one of the things, and I know you always say, "Oh, it seems like you don't like him." MJ's my second favorite player of all time. It goes Iverson and then MJ. They played 7 games against the Knicks twice in that run. They played 7 games against Houston once. They played against 7 games against the Sonics. They played 7 games against Indianapolis.
Sounds like competition. That sounds like parody. That word that you like to throw at me.
And they are I'm not mad that there's no, that's my thing is I'm not even upset that there's no parity. That's my bigger point is that the players banded together. If 5 players banded together and were like, you know what, why don't we make a super team in the West that could beat MJ? Maybe we don't have the issue that we all have now that there's no parity today.
And that's Charles Barkley and everybody else's argument is that within their prime, they don't feel majority.
So
don't
if we have
don't feel like they upped and left in their prime. They feel like they waited it out, and maybe towards the end of the career they were like, "All right, damn it, I just won a ring." That's literally the Charles Barkley argument.
All right, but KD was knocked for not having a championship, right? Wasn't he knocked for not having a championship his whole career before this? Wasn't all I heard about Kevin Durant was but he don't got a championship, right? His legacy,
Sure, right.
Charles Barkley's his legacy is based off the fact that he don't have a championship, right?
Charles Barkley, okay.
Is he not? Do people not knock him for not having a championship? Not you and I. I'm not talking about you and I, realistic people. I'm talking. Does he not? Doesn't the biggest knock on Charles Barkley? He don't have a championship, right?
Allegedly. The big issue that people have with KD, which is the completely different issue.
He went to the team that beat him the year before. That's exactly what Charles Barkley did.
Yep, in his prime.
I hate him doing his prime, but he still went to the team that beat him the year before.
When
He actually beat him 2 years before.
When you were 3 games up.
And what was my argument last year?
I don't know.
Over the summer. Do you remember what I was saying over the summer?
No,
I wouldn't want to play with Russell Westbrook either if you already know he's not going to pass you the ball. My man's happier with going 8 for 14, 8 for 27, 8 for 45 in a game than he is passing the ball to Kevin Durant. I was pulling my hair out trying to say just pass the ball more to Kevin Durant, the second best player in the world. Who's going to play with a guy like Westbrook? I understand everyone says he should stay there. Durant should have stayed in Oklahoma City and built there. Yeah, how'd that work out for you, Chuck? How'd that work out for Gary Payton? How'd that work out for Malone? It didn't.
Literally, you just brought it back to they stayed because of their pride.
And it didn't work out.
That's not the point. Their point is the pride factor. You're saying, well, it didn't work out. Their point is they stayed for pride. That is the argument. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but you're saying
square peg round hole. Square peg round hole. We watched them do that, didn't work. So why not Golden State band together to beat LeBron?
Because they're of a different breed. That's just the way that it is. They felt that they were doing the pride thing. I'm not saying it was right or wrong because they don't have a ring. Okay, they don't have a ring. We know. Their point is we don't have pride.
And I'm not mad
that
they don't
pride
have a ring.
And that they feel like they don't have pride and they're not competing and going after these dudes. It's the Joel Embiid saying we can compete. No, shut up. No, you can't.
And I understand what you're saying.
Well, then, why is this turn into a 25-minute argument?
Because if they know how they feel about people knocking them for not having a ring, why are they mad at these players for going out and trying to do that instead? They already see that none of these players banded together when Jordan was in the league running the league, right? So what's the only way to beat Jordan? They should have banded together. So the players of today were like, holy crap, they didn't band together to beat Jordan. You know what we can do? We can band together to beat LeBron.
You're saying, well, why is Charles Barkley saying this? Because of the pride. That is literally, I'm not saying it's right because you're saying, well, they did get the ring, and now these guys are saying, well, we want a ring, blah, blah, blah.
No, but even Charles Barkley was knocking Kevin Durant for not having a ring before, yes?
They're talking about we had pride, and that's what they feel like these young kids and these younger dudes, these younger players don't have. That is the argument. Your original point 15 minutes ago was, what is Charles Barkley's point? Is the pride thing. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that is the argument. I'm not saying it's right, but they're saying we fought in our prime with our team. We're saying come join us and build with us and we can take down Jordan. They're saying KD, he was literally one fucking game away and he bailed in his prime.
But I don't blame him for leaving Russell Westbrook, who was shooting 7 for 45 at one point. Literally, Game 7 of last year, my man made 7 shots and he shot it 30-plus times.
My man asked me for
why would you keep playing with him?
I give him my point, and then.
But why would Charles Barkley? Why would he keep playing with him?
I'm not gonna keep repeating myself.
I just don't understand.
I'm aware. What's next?
He's playing both sides of the fence. He's not actually making a side. He's not giving me an answer. He's saying he's mad that everyone's mad at him for never winning a championship, and he doesn't feel like he lands at the right place in his legacy. But then he's mad at Kevin Durant for wanting to go win a championship. I'm just trying to figure out where he's coming from, and ain't no one explaining it to me yet. And your point, I get, okay, he wasn't in his prime. That doesn't explain to me why he didn't do this in his prime, or why he's mad at somebody else for being smarter than him while they are in their prime. So Kevin Durant's smarter than Charles Barkley at 29 years old. Is that what we're coming to? Is that the conclusion that I'm getting out of this? I'm just not.
Whatever continues this show.
I'm just not following along where they're all coming from. The next topic is everyone's mad at Kevin Durant. The reason this started is because everyone's mad at Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant made a comment about, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I know you don't like him saying that, right? You don't.
It's stupid.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And I don't even necessarily like him saying that. I agree with him, but I don't like him openly saying that because
it's stupid. He looks foolish.
And that's the thing. I don't disagree with what he's saying.
You know why, idiot? You know why, idiot?
Yeah, I want you to say it because if I say it, it's going to sound dumb anyways.
I don't even know if we're going to say the same thing, but
I think we are.
You know why it sounds dumb, bro?
Yes. Because
these people that are watching are paying for your fucking salary.
And that's where I was going. It's going to sound dumb coming from my mouth saying they should do this.
This is what I was saying.
But then also saying we pay their salary.
This is what I was saying a couple weeks ago when I was saying.
I remember you. That's actually where I came to the
these
conclusion
players,
from what you were saying.
These players today aren't looking at the players of the next 5 to 10 years.
And I agree with
where
that.
I was talking. Well, that's what I'm getting at the ratings. Where we're talking about on a Sunday or a Saturday night game when players are sitting. Blah blah blah.
We had the conversation a couple weeks ago. That's where I agree with you.
And I was saying it's going to get to a point where. When this TV deal is up, the TV, let's say ABC.
ESPN's not going to re-sign that same contract.
Right, because the ratings are going down
And
because the stars aren't playing. KD's ignorant ass and whoever else feels this way, frankly, isn't looking at it 5 to 10 years in the future.
Yes, they're not worried
right
about
now,
that.
he's making his money. Congratulations, you got your contract. But if the trend continues with the resting and the primetime spots and the ratings going down, which apparently, according to Mike and Mike, because all they want to talk about is the ratings going up in the playoffs and the finals. But if the trend goes in this direction where, you know what, F this, so why do I need to watch this? Guess what? When that contract comes up, when that TV deal comes up and we say, let's renegotiate, oh wait, our ratings are reflecting this, I feel like we can adjust these numbers where you don't need to make this amount. You could kind of bring it down a little bit. KD doesn't see that. So him saying that is just ignorant as hell.
All right, so now, just like you did.
It's just stupid. It's
just
dumb.
Like you did.
It's so stupid.
Because on the last topic...
Shut up, KD.
Because on the last topic, you understood what I was saying and you agreed. But... Not overall, but you agree with principle of what I was saying. Here's my thing, because I agree with you. My argument to that would be...
Of course he has an argument.
Not an argument that I agree with. Just an argument is the players in the Players Association, they personally do not think you can go back from paying these contracts. Like, you're paying X amount of dollars right now for Mike Conley. That means you're going to have to pay X amount of dollars for Mike Conley talent 5 years from now. In their mind. I agree with you that ABC is going to look at them. ABC is going to look at the NBA and say, you figure out how to make that salary cap work. This is the money we're giving you. I don't disagree with you at all.
There's a new thing called value of $1.
Boom. Okay, so that's the thing that the NBA players don't understand now. Is that I think it's a 10-year contract.
Right.
And that's the bigger thing is that KD,
it's going to be that they don't understand it.
LeBron,
they're not
Westbrook, Harden, none of them care because 10 years from now, none of them are going to be playing.
They made their money.
It's going to be the Davises. It's going to be the Wiggins. It's going to be the Joel Embiids. It's going to be the Russes. It's going to be Lonzo Balls.
And
you're right. The
brothers.
Fultz. It's going to be the Fultz. No, you're not. The Monks, the Malia Monks. It's going to be the
Davis
players.
Going to be the veteran out there.
Exactly. And then he's going to be looking at, hey, how do we sell tickets? Because he's going to be looking for money in 10 years when the contracts go down because the contracts of the TV deal go down.
Magic Johnson's gone. He quit because they sucked.
The only thing...
This whole narrative is going to play itself about the Sixers are still with the Sixers. You know, it's going to be a whole narrative.
I'm not backing away from anything you're saying. I don't disagree. My biggest thing, the only thing that an Anthony Davis, a Fultz, a Wiggins, everyone we just named can hope for is that when LeBron's out of the league in 4 to 5 years, that contract has enough time for the league to even out competitive-wise, that these contracts still get paid the same from the TV deals, ABC, NBC, TNT, whoever pays the deal at that time, that hopefully it's competitive enough that they want to pay that much to charge sponsors that much. At that point, though, it's going to probably be a streaming thing, and that's a whole different conversation for a whole different day. But you and I both agree that like something we probably don't understand in and of itself.
No.
Right. I work for Amazon, and I don't know. So, yeah, and that's the direction we're going in, you know?
It's going to be...
But yes,
a whole nother monster's coming.
So everything you were gonna say about how it goes anti-player in that direction, because I'm so pro-player, it would have sounded dumb for me to say that. But what you're saying is exactly right and exactly how I feel. While I love the player power, while I love that he's so arrogant and he has so much power that he gonna look in a camera and really say,
real easy to say today.
He really gonna say. Right. If you don't like it, you don't watch. I get that. Right, and I love the player power, but I'm like, yo, you're walking a dangerous rope, man.
He'll be done. He'll be done.
And that's the bigger thing that the other player, but he is walking a dangerous rope because the Anthony Davis and the Andrew Wiggins of the world aren't dumb enough to think that he's right. So they're going to look at him like, hey, my man, you're hurting me. You saying that hurts me,
big
man.
Baller brand out here.
You hurting me. You hurting me, and now you're hurting my money and my product. Now I'm gonna do something about it, and that's where I think the competitiveness that we're looking for. That's where I think that whole "we're all friends" goes away, and it does start to get ugly and does start to get mean.
I want to go back
because I think in 4 or 5 years it's gonna be, even though you made your money, I need to make mine, and that's when you start talking money is where you really get the greed and the evil out of people. And when this money deal starts going down in 5 to 10 years from now, Anthony Davis and Andrew Wiggins are going to be really mad at Kevin Durant. What are they going to do? They're going to embarrass Kevin Durant because of it. Anyways, that's 4 to 5 years from now that we're not even going to remember we had the conversation about.
The one thing, just to add on to your point about the whole friendship thing, that's one thing. Genuinely, I can't wait for when LeBron retires, because I feel like, not that he's the only one.
No, he's not. But you're not wrong.
He's a big centerpiece of the I'm gonna call it the friendship era at this point, where we're all boys, we all get along, we're all homies outside of here, and we're basically homies on the court. We're not really trying to quote unquote kill each other, for lack of a better word. We're not out here trying to get at each other.
Even when
I can't wait till he retires so we can get some competitiveness out here. I don't need homies out here. I need some. I'm coming at you. I need some '90s, some early 2000s basketball, '80s basketball, even Bird and Magic.
Yeah,
perfect scenario.
I'll give you that. Yeah,
cool friends.
I was just gonna say straight up, Jordan in the '90s, where most people are gonna remember. Jordan's way of embarrassing you was him putting up the 55, him beating you on the last shot, him in the post-game press conference being able to but they weren't able to do it. Where when LeBron beats you by 42, afterwards he's literally seeking out your best player and hugging him afterwards. Where Jordan, if Jordan beats you by 40.
3 weeks later, they're out there in the Bahamas. I'll never forget that picture.
Right. Where if Jordan beats you by 42, he's not dapping you up afterwards. He's laughing at you for losing by 42. And I don't disagree with you on that.
Jordan ain't going to the Bahamas with you.
And he'll be like, bro, you lost by 42 to me. You can't go to the Bahamas with me. I can't be seen with you. Where LeBron, you're right. He's with CP3, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo.
Grammy. I don't like it. I can't say it's Grammy.
It doesn't bother me because
from a competitive side, from a sportsman-like side, I don't like it. I just don't.
Because I like the side of
I don't want to see Kobe and Iverson in 01 kicking it after Kobe just came up 3-1 on you or 4-1 on you.
And I don't want to see that. My favorite part about the Iverson Kobe thing is that they didn't hate each other, but they hate each other on the court until they retired.
Yes,
now that they're retired, it's like they're best friends.
Great.
And they talk about each other like they're actual best friends. And I think and I love both of them, so we're both cool with that. But the fact of the matter is they respect each other so much because they wouldn't stop going at each other. Because they both kept picking at the other one.
Because they were competitors.
Kobe was like, we
had pride, Charles Barkley, the original point.
And
boom.
But I don't think it's the same thing on the sense of
competitiveness. Have some pride, have some dignity. I'm better than you. I'm going to show you up. I'm the face of this league.
But as I keep saying about Kevin Durant, and I know it just happens to be the right time, the right situation, and the chemistry, and the year we are, and now it looks like everyone's just been friends forever, and now we can just add to this. But yes or no, if you were the second best player in the world, and I know you might not necessarily think that Kevin Durant's the second best player in the world.
Who's the second best player in the world?
I think Kevin Durant's the second best player in the world.
We'll go with that.
My point is if you played with Westbrook for 8 years, and you got to the point where it was literally like we were this close, but because of you never passing me the ball in the biggest situation, and you thinking going 7 for 32 is the reason that is the way we're going to win. Look, we all love Russell Westbrook's mentality, and I don't dislike Russell Westbrook's mentality. My thing is that Paul George, a Jimmy Butler, I'm Allen Iverson's biggest fan, and I've been screaming at the TV all of Westbrook's careers. He is a more athletic version of Iverson, and nobody wanted to play with Iverson. You know why? Because Iverson thought him and the ball were the only two things on the court. Westbrook, him and the ball are the only two things on the court. Why would a superstar want to play with him? Why would KD? Well, I understand what Chuck's saying, but why would KD want to stay in Oklahoma City? His talent's getting wasted there, and compared to where.
I hear what you're saying. I can't say what I would do. I mean, if I'm sitting here right here today in my mindset, I do, and I might just be in this moment, but I feel like I would want to say no, especially if I'm not cool with LeBron like that. I'd be like, no, F that. Let's do our thing. Yo, what do we need? What do we need to do? Okay, if we're on the same team, and
he went to a team that was still trying to fight LeBron. He wasn't trying to. It's not like he went to LeBron. He was still trying to fight LeBron where he went. Yeah.
If you're Russell Westbrook and I'm KD, and we're on the same team, and you're balling out, and you're just taking the ball, but I still like I still feel like
you're the better player.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I still feel like I'm the better player.
Easily.
Yeah, do I feel? Would I be in my feelings a little bit? Yeah, that would be a natural thing. But I would hope, which is all I can do, is say I would hope that I would be able to put my ego on the side and be like, yo, you know what? I'm gonna check my ego, but you're gonna need to check yours, and we're gonna need to figure this out. Whether we need to add another piece, which clearly they needed, aka James Harden.
They did.
But which is why he left and it made it worse. But I would hope
Can I add something to this?
I would hope that I would check myself and say, F this guy over here, we can take him. because we
I'm not
came
mad at
this
that.
close. I would hope that I would do that because
I'm not
of
even mad at that.
because of the dude that I am. I would feel like that I would be like, no, F that. I want to compete. I'm a man, and we're better than that. So collectively, we can do this. We just need to get the right pieces around us, and we just need to figure this out.
To your point.
I would hope I would do that.
To your point of the I hope, let me just add one more hypothetical in there, because to your point, we only hope, and this all is hypothetical.
Right, yeah, definitely.
What if Golden State came to him and was basically saying, look...
Yeah, he went to Golden State, but anyway.
My thing is, Golden State came to him and was basically, look, and they painted the picture of, yes or no, the Western Conference Finals. Even though Steph scored 40 in Game 1, over the first 3 games, who has been the best player in there? It's been Kevin Durant has shined all 3 of those games. He has been the difference maker. He has been what they ran the offense through. My thing is, what if...
So why didn't you close out? You had 1 game.
Huh?
I said, so why didn't you close it out? You had 1 game against Golden State.
They're up 3-0. As of this recording, they're up 3-0. They're up 3-0.
I'm talking about... Okay, never mind.
That's my point. Okay, I know you're thinking about Cleveland. I'm saying hypothetical with
I thought you were talking about OKC
no,
and Golden State last year.
What I'm saying is a hypothetical here. Okay, so they went to Kevin Durant and we're like, look, we're gonna still do what we're doing, but we're gonna make sure that it looks like you are the best player, considering you are our best player. And here we are, 3 games in against San Antonio, and they're doing exactly what they probably pitched to him, where Oklahoma City couldn't pitch more than it's going to be your Batman and he's Robin, even though Robin's going to take more shots. Yes, we're going to try to convince Robin to take less shots. I'm not saying that they didn't actually come to him with, because you even said, what if they were like, hey, let's work together instead of me going to Golden State as Kevin Durant? Hey, what if we work together in Oklahoma City? Right. What if that was actually hypothetically a scenario, but the other scenario was you look this good on our team instead? I still think I picked Golden State. I honestly do, because you have 8 years of knowing that's not how it went in Oklahoma City. You don't know what's going to happen with Golden State. And I don't disagree with you that, look, they're 1 game away from going to the finals last year. Like, I don't hate on the idea of being mad at Kevin Durant for this. I just understand what he did. Do I wish, personally, I wish he stayed in Oklahoma City, and I can't stand him and Westbrook together. I couldn't stand. I love Westbrook by himself. I love Iverson by himself. I probably would have hated watching Iverson with another superstar, considering Iverson couldn't pass the ball his first 9 years of his career. He went to Denver, realized Carmelo Anthony could shoot better than him, and holy crap, next thing you know, Allen Iverson passed the ball. I was like, what? They made it to the Western Conference Finals and lost to Kobe in 6. Like, it was the most unaggressive to the hoop Iverson I've ever seen, and it was the best version of him I've ever seen. Unfortunately, he was 32 years old. I wish when he was 27, he had the same mentality, and my favorite player would probably have a better legacy than he does now, but he never will, and that's my issue with Westbrook. Westbrook has better talent than Iverson, who I love, and I hate to admit that. Few people have as much talent as Allen Iverson. Westbrook has more.
That's a bold statement, but I'm going to let you keep going.
I think overall,
turn into a whole conversation.
I think overall Westbrook does have more talent than Iverson.
Sure.
I think Westbrook...
Sure.
Okay, but my point is Westbrook, when he's 34 years old, 35 years old, he's going to realize that 26, 25, 29 years old with Kevin Durant, who Iverson didn't get to play with the Sixers, that's all my organization, not Iverson. But Iverson never got to play with as good of a player until he left the Sixers. If he would have been able to play with that good of a player at a younger age, maybe he understands it quicker than Westbrook, but I personally don't think he does. And I think Westbrook's going to regret one day thinking that he should have done the things the way that he did, because I truly think they win championships and turn out better if they let the offense, if Westbrook just gives up the idea that him and Iverson have. And I keep bringing Iverson up because he's my favorite athlete of all time. So, like, I'm not trying to knock Westbrook the human or his mentality or any of this. Like, when I say any of this, I just understand where Kevin Durant's coming from, living on the same side as Westbrook and Iverson. Do you know what I mean? So, we talk about the competitive. We talk about all that. Is it that far off? I mean, specifically those Western Conference Finals alone, and I know Kawhi hasn't played since third quarter of Game 1, and they were up 25, but did Durant, to conclude our conversation, make the wrong decision?
As far as he's concerned, personally, probably not. As if we want to throw that whole moral thing, quote unquote, out the window, then no, he did the right thing. What?
I was gonna ask, because LeBron. Do you think LeBron back when he went from Cleveland to Miami, do you think he made the wrong decision?
It's kind of the same thing, but it's also not.
Right. But that's
because.
But that's my point. Is
to
like
me, the LeBron thing goes deeper with the whole "it's just my city" type thing. But I'm not going there.
And I hear you there.
Again, I'm not.
I
going
hear you there,
again.
and we've had the conversation. Right. I don't agree that any player is obligated to any city.
Even if it is their city, even if it was a Philadelphia
even if he's
player,
from there, even if they're from there, I don't think anybody's obligated to anywhere. Yes, would I be mad as a Philadelphia fan?
You're so lucky that there would never be a situation.
If Jameer Nelson would have been drafted by the Sixers and left the Sixers in his prime, what my point? Him and Kyle Lowry, the best players out of Philly, other than Kobe, but Kobe would never claim Philly until he was retired. Okay, Kobe Bryant from Philly. Would I have been mad that he did that to Philadelphia? Without question. Am I mad at the Cleveland fans for being mad? No. But my bigger point is, these players have the control, and I'm not mad at the players having the control, and I'm not mad at Kevin Durant making a decision. I'm not mad at LeBron making that decision.
And it is they just have to live with it.
And at least Kevin Durant has proven himself, I think, to be right, yes?
Sure.
Do you think Oklahoma City, and obviously they probably build the roster a little different, do you think Oklahoma City of last year,
I don't know,
with Kevin Durant this year, I mean, do you think they make it? Do you think they can beat a Houston? Do you think they can beat a Spurs and play Golden State in the Western Conference Finals? And obviously that's
why not? They all but did last year, so why not?
Now, do you think that kind of team can beat LeBron and the Cavs? I don't think LeBron does what he does in the last 4 games of last year.
I mean,
obviously, all hypotheticals.
Right, and especially because we don't know what moves they would have made.
Right. So Oladipo probably doesn't go to Oklahoma City with Kevin Durant.
I would assume.
Okay.
No, on paper, start to finish, that I would assume that Cleveland would have a much better roster situation. That doesn't mean that I feel like OKC wouldn't have beaten them because, again, they came 1 game from beating the record-setting Golden State Warriors, which is what everybody seems to want to ignore. Like, 1 game. Like, literally, yes. 1 game.
Yes.
Just 2 players that apparently could have played together. 2 players literally became
No, I don't think those are the only 2
teams.
I don't think those are the 2 reasons that they didn't win that series, even.
Literally, 2 players literally came within 1 game of beating a record-setting, NBA record-setting team.
Yeah.
Start to finish.
And then that team actually faltered as well, so it's not like it's impossible to think that they couldn't have lost.
If I had to throw money on it, would I have picked Cleveland or OKC in that situation? Clearly, I would have picked Cleveland. Okay. I would have been rooting for OKC because of who I am.
Yeah.
But Cleveland would have had the better lineup start to finish, and you would assume that Cleveland would have got the edge at least in 6. I don't know, presumably. But
I don't disagree.
The biggest argument I have about the KD situation is that literally this close, and it's just like it's all gonna be what ifs and hypotheticals until the end of time at this point. And I will stay with the fact that I feel like KD should just stuck it out, and they should just figure it out.
All right, so we sort of agree, I guess disagree, I don't even know. We go back and forth on Kevin Durant's comments, but we agree with what he said wasn't the best. The competition thing, nah. But to break down the actual series themselves, we'll start off with Golden State, San Antonio. Kawhi getting hurt obviously changed the entire series for Golden State, San Antonio. We both had, I guess, bigger expectations, I want to say. I mean, I thought we had big expectations in general, but easily bigger expectation than what's happening physically in real life. You call me Mr. Stat Boy, you make fun of me for my stats, my thoughts with all this. Mm-hmm. Kawhi Leonard, if this does get swept and he doesn't play 1 game after getting hurt in game 1, he would be plus 25 in a series his team lost. That would be absolutely insane to think about, that he was plus 25 and his team still couldn't win the series. And I get that was over 1 game, but the fact that they didn't even win the game that he was plus 25 in is incredible in and of itself to think about. Look, we went over that specific game, so I don't want to go over that.
Right.
Even the series in general, there's only been 2 games since that recording to this recording, and the chances are by the time this recording's even up, that series will be over.
Most likely.
Even if it's not, then there will be a game or two left maximum. Golden State's going to win this series, yes. Even if Kawhi comes back in game 5 or 6, I still think Golden State wins.
Yeah, it's over.
So my bigger question, them coming back from the Golden State coming back from down 25, Golden State dominating the way that they did in game 2, Golden State going to San Antonio and still being able to win by 10, 15, 20 points the way they did. Do you think there's anything San Antonio out without Kawhi Leonard could have done, can be able to do, but could have done, even in those 2 other games, to change the outcome?
No. I guess that stacked team and go say no. There's definitely there's nothing they could have done.
So
even with Kawhi out, not Kawhi. Even if Aldridge is out there doing an Aldridge thing, aka the Baby Shaq thing, where he was doing 30 and 34 and 12 or something.
I was just about to bring that up.
Even if he does that, then it's who's getting the extra buckets on top of that, which. You got Gasol out there, but probably not.
So
you need a shooter out there. So the answer
I don't disagree. The reason I was asking that was because they blew out Houston without Kawhi.
Right? Yeah, they did.
So this team
for a game.
For one game, and I'm not saying that's a predicament of an entire series that they would have been able to do that over a 7-game series. My thing is that team without Kawhi showed that they can still compete with a top 5 team in the NBA.
Right.
So I was still hoping that they could somehow compete with Golden State. I didn't think they were going to.
I mean,
but I still thought this team was going to have something in them without Kawhi because they had something in them without Kawhi against other teams. And I get that's a more testament to Golden State than it is to San Antonio, a knock on them.
Yeah, I mean, they had that game against Houston, but that's an anomaly. I mean, there's nothing. It's not like there's Parker out there. It's not like Ginobili's out there balling out, which, I mean, he did. Ginobili, he kind of...
shout out to him. He's going to be 70 years old playing one day.
So much disrespect. But, I mean, he kind of showed the game previously to this recording.
He did.
But...
And they still lost by 12.
Right. Which was my point, is that...
You're not wrong.
You can have that go down. You can have Aldridge do what he's going to do.
Even if he scores a 30+, you're right. You're right. And I think
where's that young stud that's going to do it consistently outside of Aldridge? There isn't that.
And as much as I love Dame Lillard up in Portland, I think the knock on Aldridge is Aldridge, everything ran through him in Portland. So he was scoring that 30, 35+. He was getting 12 to 15 rebounds every single game. Now he's in San Antonio, which, look, with Pop... I don't, they're running the offense a different way. That's just because they think the offense can run better a different way. It's not that Aldridge just, people still knock Aldridge for not averaging that 30+ a game that he was in Portland. And I'm like, no. He can still do that in the NBA. The thing is, he went to a team that he felt like could win a championship with or without him doing that, and I don't knock him up for that. And so I don't knock Pop for finding a different way to score. Look, outside of 10-day or can't go back, that's what I call Jonathan Simmons. I call him 10-day or can't go back because he's either on a 10-day contract or he can't go back to where he came from.
No.
And that's my thing.
No.
It's Aldridge.
No.
It's Aldridge and
it's
him.
It's Aldridge and Son.
They've been literally holding up that offense.
No.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing is you're not going to beat Golden State even with a full roster, with Kawhi, who is that X factor, who is that difference. You're going to be close to Golden State. You're going to be close to Golden State. With Jonathan Simmons
you're going to force a game or two,
Right. With Jonathan Simmons and Aldridge, you're not going to have that.
No.
And Powell's not playing as well as we all think Powell should play with the Spurs, even though we know Powell's not what he was when he was 08. Obviously,
he's playing well, but he's not...
My favorite thing is people are comparing to his career. To his prime of his career. His prime of his career was 08, 09, 2010. Well, it's 2017, so we're 7 years past his quote-unquote prime, and you're mad at the things he's doing? I don't disagree.
That's stupid in general,
it's ridiculous.
Too. No, that doesn't even make any sense as far as the basis of... Even if Pau Gasol was playing, quote-unquote, in his prime, with LaMarcus Aldridge today, I still don't think it would be enough. You still don't have a shooter out there.
I agree.
As much as I love Pau Gasol, and as much as I feel like
it looks a little closer, but there's no dominance involved with that.
As much as I feel like he is a Hall of Famer, Pau Gasol at some point, maybe not first ballot.
I think he should be a Hall of Famer.
But That's not a situation where even if Gasol was in his prime,
No, I agree.
that would be competitive. No, you need somebody that can shoot the ball. And right now in 2017, the Spurs don't have that.
No, the Spurs don't have that. And Kawhi was that guy. Kawhi was playing very Kobe-like on the offensive end this postseason, particularly. So we agree on that. Golden State most likely wins in 4. As of this recording, it'll most likely be 4, but at max 5 or 6.
Might be over by this point, but yeah.
The more interesting series, I guess, is the East.
Haven't we all but talked about LeBron? Okay, what's up?
Game 1 wasn't really close. It was a 25-point blowout.
Blowout game 1, blowout game 2. Okay,
LeBron felt like he didn't have the best game, whatever. They win by 42 in game 2, and I'm like, all right, whatever. This is a little... Like, he was out to prove some kind of point that I didn't understand. I didn't know why. Even me, who loves LeBron, I thought it was odd that with 9 seconds left to go in the first half, up literally 35 points, he was running as fast as he can down the court with the basketball in his hand. Because my thought is, whether you get the basket or not, what if LeBron gets hurt there up 35 with 39 seconds to go? 9 seconds to go in the second quarter. Like what? Like I didn't understand it. But they wanted to prove a statement. They did whatever statement they wanted to prove. Good for them. They lose the next game at home without Isaiah Thomas on the other side. So like I don't know what statement they were trying to prove in game 2 because it didn't translate to game 3.
Cleveland! This L's for you!
My point is like...
I've been holding that in.
Them winning by 42 in game 2, right? Them losing at home without IT...
Embarrassing.
In game 3...
It's embarrassing.
Is that them not respecting the Celtics? And like, I'm...
Sure, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. Sure.
I don't think either of us know.
I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either.
Sure.
I just don't understand how you can go from one extreme to the other. My thing is that the only thing I can say is LeBron only shot it 5 times, 6 times in the first half to step it up. Then it was too late, middle of the third quarter, going to the fourth. I mean, he only shot 3 times in the fourth quarter, and he missed all 3 shots. But like, look. The loss in game 3 is without question on LeBron. He only scored 11 points. They didn't score 126.
You just criticize LeBron James?
The obvious correlation would be he didn't score enough.
Did you just say LeBron just caused
I would say game 3 would be on LeBron. I think that Tristan Thompson played out of his mind on game 3. I think the rest of the team didn't play all that well, but I think that the difference is LeBron James.
I'm coming to join you, honey. Elizabeth. Really?
Yeah, and I didn't understand it personally watching it. That was the first bad game that LeBron had in the playoffs since 2011, so I'm not sitting here even overreacting about it. I think it's odd. I think it's an anomaly, and I think for some reason he shut himself off in the first half, and I don't know why he decided in the second half he thought he should start playing, and he never got his rhythm when he thought he should start playing. I think in the first half he wasn't putting any effort, and I didn't understand why. That is something that I will not ever grasp. That is why sometimes LeBron James decides to, that switch that we all talk that they have, he just decides that he turns his off for a playoff game.
Yeah, right.
But it's only one game, so I don't call it clutch. I mean, look, Jordan played more 7-game series than LeBron ever did. You want to talk about clutch? That means in 3 of those...
Right on schedule with his Jordan comment.
I was actually going to bring up more. Bird, Magic, Kareem. I was going to bring up my man Dr. J. I was going to bring up Will. I was going to bring all of them up. I just started with the one who was closest to him. If you're talking about the greatest, I just don't understand because none of them, all of those players who I think that are on the same level as him, if not better, whatever, he's better on the same level, whatever those conversations are. My bigger thing is that you don't have those halves where you watch them play and it doesn't seem like they're engaged in what's going on in front of them, where it seemed like, at least in that game in particular, it didn't seem like he was engaged. And that was the knock on him before 2011, that it seemed like he wasn't engaged sometimes for some reason. This particular evening, I do not understand why. Maybe it's because they won by 42 the game before. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if them winning by 42 means that much the game before either. You know what I mean? And that's where I think that going from one extreme to the next, of them winning by 42 and losing the next game, that I don't know if we're ever going to put a finger on what specifically happened in that game. But, is it a cause for concern?
1, no. 3, I only have real 3 quick points about the whole situation. No, it's not a cause for concern. No, I mean, as of this recording, this game, what was it? 4, 5. Game 4 will have already taken place by the time this recording goes up. But I will say in advance that I hope to God.
And we're only talking about the first 3.
I hope to God that Cleveland loses this because I just want to see the world implode with the Cavaliers losing the balls. I don't think it's going to happen. Before you go, relax.
No, I wasn't going there.
Relax.
I was actually about to bring up something. So,
okay, can I bring up the other points that I was going to talk about before?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's JD Sports. It's not this J show. It's JD, and there's a D in this. I get
True.
Cool. 3 points, which just really quick. 1, completely embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and the Cavaliers as a whole, not just LeBron James, should feel some type of way about it. When you're at home and you lose to Boston without Isaiah Thomas, it's completely embarrassing. I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care if it's LeBron. I don't care if it's...
I was going to say, while we're throwing this on here, I still think it's more LeBron than the rest of the Cavs, even though you called out the rest of the Cavs. I still think that game 3, was more on LeBron. No?
You actually had an epiphany for once.
Do you agree?
Yes. Well, duh.
Right.
Yeah, it is
All
against LeBron because he's the quote-unquote king, whatever, Mr. 11 points. Which brings me to point number 2. When you show up short like James Harden out here at home in a situation where you can, get back the advantage. Well, not even because LeBron had the advantage to close out. And when you come up short and look nonchalant as hell, like a James Harden against San Antonio, you just which San Antonio, they had way more talent compared to what Boston just did to Cleveland without Isaiah Thomas. They should be ashamed of themselves. Cleveland in general should be completely ashamed of themselves. And what my third point was, I don't remember this point, but bottom line is, when you are Cleveland and when you have the talent that they have, to lose to Isaiah Thomas, list Boston team at home in the playoffs in an elimination game, it's embarrassing. It's completely embarrassing. And point number 3, really quick, goes back to the whole I need help thing, LeBron, that we heard 3 months ago. I need help because I'm LeBron.
He's looking for help now.
That's my thing. Not that you brought it up yet, but not that you were going to bring it up even, but the whole he didn't have help argument.
Oh no. He was the difference in that law.
I'm not even saying that you're saying that, but I can hear the little chirp of the LeBron apologists, and I can just kind of faintly hear, there was nobody out there to help him because he put it on them. But no, they did show up. I
thought Tristan Thompson had the best game of the postseason for him, and they still lost that game. I think that is on LeBron. I agree with you.
At the end of the day, you're up 21-0. Well, you're up 21 at home.
Yeah, they were up 21 at home. Yeah, and LeBron didn't seem engaged up 20.
In an elimination
so when he
game.
needed to be engaged, I felt like he wasn't engaged.
That's embarrassing.
And I didn't understand it.
When you're the quote king, I expect you to take control. I don't want to hear this whole.
No, I agree.
Maybe he didn't work himself up. There's no.
I thought he tried to take control and then missed a lot of the shots that when he was trying to take control. I thought he got missed a lot of shots
and he wasn't trying.
I thought he was
the James Harden situation.
No. I thought that was in the first half. I meant the second half when he was actually physically trying. I do think the second half he had a horrible second half, and I felt like he was trying to take over that game and he couldn't physically do it because he was already out of it.
People are going to have bad games, but that's embarrassing.
And look, that's his first bad game since 2011. So personally, as a LeBron, as you said, apologist, and I'm not even on the side of everything you just said, but as a LeBron apologist in general, you're not wrong. Look, this is his first bad game since 2011.
Sure.
So do I honestly care about one game? No. Do I find it odd and weird? Without question. I was actually about to bring up, I find it odd and weird on the sense of he seemed disengaged. I named all the other greatest players of all time that I think, like the Kareems, the Dr. J's, the Iverson, not Iverson, but the LeBron, the Kobe's, the whatever, MJ's, all the greats, right? Dr. J is my great favorite player of all time. There is, in the middle, I think it was the 68 Eastern Conference Finals, for some reason he has a game in there where he only scored 4 points. And he went 2 for 16 or something like that, right? And I've seen the game on tape, and I don't watch it till conclusion because you can tell by halftime there's no way the Sixers win it. And I don't understand it. He is, to me, before LeBron, the best physical aspect that could play 1 through 5 was Magic and then Dr. J. I thought Magic is the best to play 1 through 5. I thought Magic could play point guard, he could play center. I thought the only other player before him was Dr. J that could play point guard or center. Even though Dr. J was a forward, I thought he could play 1 through 5.
Okay. Okay.
Not that he ever did, because
Okay.
Magic was the only one to ever do that before LeBron. My thing is that there's a game against the Celtics in like '68 where he only scored 4 points in the Eastern Conference Finals, and it looks really weird. If you watch the game, you're like, what is going on? Where at least with LeBron in the first half, you're just like, it looks like he's not engaged at least. You know what I mean? Like, at least in the first half with LeBron, I'm like, well, it just looks like he doesn't care, which that's a problem in and of itself. Where Dr. J, I'm watching these, and the next game he scores like, I think it was 37, and they win game 6, and they go to the finals because of it. And I'm like, it doesn't add up why two nights apart he could score 4 points and look like he's not can't play basketball, and then 2 nights later he can score almost 30 or almost 40 and actually carry them to the finals. Like I will never be able to physically explain why. My bigger thought on this is, we had the conversation last time, NBA teams on the road seem to have a bigger problem than they do at home. He struggled more at home than he did on the road. And Boston, on the other side, played better on the road in Game 3 than they did at home, where every other series and all season long they played better at home than on the road. I don't know why this is an anomaly. I don't understand why one team played better in that direction and one team played worse. The obvious difference is LeBron. The obvious difference is, even though they won by 40 in Game 3 and they only held them to 87 in Game 3, Boston scored 100+ in almost every other game in the playoffs. The Cavaliers have given up 100+ in almost every other game in the playoffs. So LeBron is the difference of being, well, they only scored, 105 or 108. They're used to scoring 120+ or 130. So there you go. Him getting 11, that's your difference in 20, 30+ points in that game. Right there, obviously. But I do think there is more to it, and I am kind of intrigued in the fact that Boston only scored 87 with Isaiah playing in the first half at home, and then they score 100+ on the road, and they weren't able to score 100+ on the road against Washington. I don't think it's cause concern going deep into the playoffs. I don't think that Cleveland has lost their defense, or Tristan Thompson had his best game of the playoffs in that loss. Like, I think there's things to take away from it both sides. The reaction from both sides after the game did not seem. The Cavaliers didn't seem pissed off or as frustrated as I thought they would be, and Boston didn't seem as happy and excited and thinking that they can have a chance to win the series as I thought they would be on the other end. So I don't understand it. I'm not following along with any of it. You still think Cleveland wins the series pretty easily?
Duh.
I still think Cleveland wins the series pretty easily. I think all of us are just confused and never going to understand it.
I'm not confused in that. I'm not like...
But I'm confused in the sense of like Dr. J scoring that 4 points in that series, right? No, it doesn't make any sense though. Why that's the one game
thing. What are you freaking out about?
No,
I really went like this. I really shrugged, and you just.
I'm saying it on the sense of like, people. We try to make sense of these things though. You and I try to make sense of this all the time.
Maybe you just had a bad game.
And I'm not just
okay. So when you go back 40 years.
No. I didn't mean that in the sense of like, oh, he can just have a bad game, it's okay. I meant in the sense of...
I didn't say it was okay.
How do these players, of their talent...
I don't know.
Where does it come from? Like, what is the...
I don't know, but...
With LeBron in that game, where's the disengagement with Dr. J in the game? Like, where is the rhythm that you're missing, and why particular on that night? Obviously, there might be something more to it than either of us will ever understand. It's confusing and weird to me. It is. I mean, he hasn't had LeBron in particular, because Dr. J obviously had a couple of bad playoff games not long before that. Like, LeBron, literally, it was 6 years prior to go back to his last bad playoff game. That's weird. Like, that, him in particular, that game is just, that's weird, yeah? But we both still expect Cleveland and Golden State to meet in the finals. We talked about the competition. I said how I think that in 20 years from now, we're going to be more concerned about how this was the third time they met in the finals than we are going to actually be about how boring these playoffs have been. But at least that game gave us something to not think was super boring in the playoffs, yeah?
You want to talk about stuff that people don't remember if this comes all to be a one-off.
You're right. People aren't going to remember if they win 4-1 in the series. You're right. People are going to remember the 42-point win over that, yeah? Even though Avery Bradley hit a big shot to win that game.
Stop. No.
It's still a big shot.
Again, no. Stop.
I wanted to move on from basketball, but I have an even bigger question from you.
What?
Boston won without Isaiah. The rumors were there before that.
What about it?
You got the number 1 overall pick. The best 3 players in this draft are all guards. But you have Isaiah.
So.
Do you build around Isaiah, or do you trade Isaiah and build around one of these players? Because if you trade Isaiah, you can get a...
I don't know. What do the analytics say? Because I'm going to guess whatever the analytics say.
That's interesting. I don't know what the analytics say.
Well, from
it probably says trade Isaiah. Honestly, if I was just guessing, the analytics would most likely say trade Isaiah. I don't think you trade Isaiah personally, but I think the analytics do say that, most likely.
No.
I do think Fultz and Ball are generational talent, but I don't think that either of them can step in and have the impact that Isaiah has on the franchise right now.
It's so easy to make those blanketed statements coming out of college.
No, I think those 2 players are going to be as good as CP3.
I mean, no. Yes, it is really easy to say it today. There's no yes or no. It's no, there is a yes to that. Yes, it really is easy to say that today, that they're clearly going to be this moving forward. Yes, that is easy to say. It's really easy to say, I don't even know why I even embrace this stuff, because then it just creates this. But it's really easy to say that Johnny Manziel can be, this quarterback that, can build. It's really easy to say.
Had Manziel in the mind, because I was thinking that as well.
It's really easy and simple to say this. It's really simple to say that, but no.
He is my biggest miss, so I agree with you.
Because it's ridiculous, and this is what we do. I'm not just talking about the NFL or the NBA.
I know.
This is what we do
all over
every damn year.
Potential is the biggest thing, and you hate potential. Every year. I know that.
And you are the biggest proponent of potential.
I'm not a proponent. I have an understanding of it.
And more often than not, it's missed and it's hit. When it hits, yes, it looks very good, and people look very intelligent.
I do think potential is better than past, yes.
Yeah, but it looks real intelligent for people to pass up Carson Wentz or Dak Prescott in the moment, but now in hindsight, it looks really stupid. It's really...
Look, it goes Prescott and then Wentz in that draft, and here it went golf and then Wentz, and that makes no sense.
Yeah, it's really easy to say that in hindsight, but in that moment, forget Carson Wentz, forget Dak Prescott for 4 rounds.
In 8 years from now, we might be talking about how good Jared Goff is.
Right, which is what my point is. If I'm looking at
instead of those 2, yeah.
I'm damn sure not rooting for the Boston Celtics, but
I
if I'm the Boston Celtics,
I know what you mean.
and I'm looking at, I have who's it, Avery Bradley and Isaiah Thomas, two of the top guards, especially in the Eastern Conference, outside of maybe the Washington situation.
Right. Because they do have the best guards.
Why not continue to build with that? I have Al Horford.
Maybe
I get rid of that situation, and maybe the
and get
pick
a couple good
on
players
top
back
of that.
while you still have him at the end of his prime.
Maybe you get rid of Al Horford in the pick, and maybe you get 3 other pieces. I don't know.
You might
I don't know the exact situation.
You might have just answered my question, because I was just going to ask.
Answering the question is, do you give up Isaiah Thomas? My answer is no. If I run the Boston Celtics, if I'm a Boston Celtics fan, I'm saying no. Go with Bradley Beal. Go with Isaiah Thomas and
Avery Bradley.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Go with those 2 and just go around that. They need a wing player. I'd probably say get rid of Al Horford and get a better big.
Do you draft the wing player, or do you trade the draft pick and get a wing player that way? Like, do you trade the number 1 overall pick for Jimmy Butler?
Great question, because you know what? I'm always a proponent of getting the veteran play, because I feel like that's more of an instant solution, especially when you're looking at Boston, who is trying to compete today. Yeah, you get the wing player. Okay. Who that is, I don't know.
No, I wasn't going to ask who that is.
Yeah, I'd rather do that than try to...
Even on top of just trading your number 1 overall pick for a Jimmy Butler or Paul George, my bigger question is... Paul
George, Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley.
My bigger question is...
Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas.
So if you were Boston, you would think today you are the team that can knock LeBron off in the East, yes?
If I'm Boston, yes.
So you do trade that pick, because obviously if you draft Fultz or if you draft Monk, they're not going to be the centerpiece to put you over the top to beat
because
Cleveland.
they're not going to do. They're not going to.
They're only 18, 19 years old.
Right. So I don't even like. I don't like saying this.
They can't take over that way. They just can't.
Right.
They physically can't. It's not fair to them in the sense of what Cleveland's doing.
I don't even like saying this, but to me, this is a perfect situation where draft back or trade your
back
pick
and
to
draft
go
someone
back.
deep.
Right, go back. maybe you get something, a piece
and in the
that
NBA,
you need.
that usually
And
doesn't work, but
right.
you're not wrong on the sense of if you think
When
you're the
you're
team that
Boston-
can beat them.
Right, when you're Boston, you can trade back. You can still get the player that you want, quote unquote, and you can get maybe a future first rounder, which I don't want to hear either. But
Right.
maybe
I know
you
what you
get
mean.
that plus
I know what you mean.
a veteran
And
or
they already
two.
have the 2018
get
pick
some-
from the Nets.
Get some money, which you can add on to this
for
offseason.
contracts. Yeah. Okay.
That's a better choice.
So,
don't take the free agent. Don't draft a guard. No.
Okay,
Don't force yourself.
Because that's where I was at on the sense of, like, we don't know.
You have guards.
We don't know when LeBron's reign, quote unquote, in the East is going to end. Obviously, you think it's going to, or hope it's going to end quicker than I do. But we neither. But I thought
3 years max.
But I think that next year you could get the LeBron. You could. Father Time is undefeated. Yes. So like next year you could literally have LeBron going to the playoffs, and it's just that switch that he tries to flip doesn't actually happen. And then whoever ends up, Washington, Boston, Toronto, whoever ends up being that lucky team just gets him in that series that he can't flip that switch to the next level to beat everybody the way he does. So my bigger question was, if you think you are the team in Boston that can beat him, then you don't want to trade Isaiah, and you don't want to draft a Fultz or a Ball.
No,
because if you do that, if you draft Fultz or if you draft Ball, then you're trading Horford, then you're trading Isaiah. And if you trade Horford and Isaiah, well, you're not going to keep an Avery Beal. You're not going to keep Smart. You're not going to keep these players who are 7 years in the league because you're going to try to rebuild with the player who's 1 year in the league. So it makes no sense to go for the player who's 1 year in the league when you already have a team full of 6, 7, 8 years in the league who are all competitive enough to be the number 1 seed in the East or at least the number 2 seed in the East to Cleveland. You know what I mean? Where in Cleveland you have that one bad series from LeBron where it's not just one game now, where now you're talking it's a whole series because Father Time caught up to him next year or the year after. And if you traded Isaiah away and you traded Horford away and now you got Ball or you got Monk or you got Fultz, you can't beat that team because you lost to Washington, and Washington's the team that won.
I would say at this point, if you're Boston, you're looking at I'm not competing against Cleveland.
Toronto, Washington. It's whoever can be the first one to the finals past Cleveland.
Right, I'm competing against Washington.
So we agree with that.
Or Toronto, whatever the case would be.
And honestly,
maybe in Milwaukee out there, but
at that point, yes,
you're competing.
That's a good call.
At this point, you're competing against the future.
And I agree. But you're trying to compete with the immediate future, even though it's not technically immediate, right? Is that a best way to put it? Like you're trying to,
which at that point you would
the future that's not LeBron. So immediate past him, you're hoping it's not Washington, Toronto, or Milwaukee at that point. But to your point, Milwaukee's probably going to be the most stacked team if Jabari comes back healthy next year. They're going to probably be better than Boston next year. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch unfold. Mm-hmm. I'm interested between now and the actual draft. We agree with what Boston should do. Mm. I'm interested between now and the draft to what Boston actually does. Because as much as I don't really like Boston, you probably don't really like Boston.
I don't give a shit about Boston, just saying.
Fuck
Boston.
Danny Ainge.
Shout out to Unk.
Unk. Your favorite word. Not Unk, the other one.
Fuck.
Danny Ainge has been a good GM for Boston, obviously, to this point. So to see what he does between now and the actual draft, I'm really excited in that sense. Is there anything else NBA you wanted to bring up?
Damn, I would hope not. No.
I'm not going to bring up the NHL. I do want to say the playoffs have still been as fun because by the time we're recording, it's going to be already in the Stanley Cup.
I've been saying this for like 4 weeks.
Yeah, but the Stanley Cup literally will start between now and the next time we record because, well, there's only 3 games left max. There's only 3 games left max between now and the Stanley Cup. Both have played their 5th game. So one of them's winning in 6 and the other one's winning in 7. I don't know who and I don't know how. And I'm rooting for Ottawa and the Predators, even though I think it's going to be Anaheim and Pittsburgh at this point because that's my personal luck.
The Mighty Ducks flying V? Oh.
I'm still rooting for the Predators in Ottawa, even though Ottawa lost 7-0 in the most pivotal game of their season. They lost their goaltender, they lost their captain, and they lost 7-0 It was not good on their home ice. Oh, it was bad. It was the whole thing.
James Harden, LeBron James. Oh,
the whole thing was just not good. The whole thing was just not good.
That's even worse.
Moving forward in that series, by the time we record, it might be over. I'm still rooting for Ottawa. I think that Anderson can come back, the goalie, and still shut down Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, first time, literally in 7 games that they scored more than 3 goals. They scored 7. That's a scary sight to see Crosby and the rest of that offense finally clicking. Crosby had a goal and an assist in that game. Bigger thing I want to bring up with the NHL, Crosby took a shot a couple weeks ago, towards the end of the Washington series, where his head hit the boards, not the ice. Yeah. The whole concussion thing was brought up. It was such a big deal, blah, 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 blah. I do want to point out the fact that the NFL and the NHL, if it was Tom Brady, the NFL wouldn't pull him out of the game.
Don't go there.
It's the same thing.
Can we not go there?
But if we're going to finesse the superstars in one, they're going to finesse the superstars in the other.
Because you brought on Tom Brady, we didn't even talk about Giselle. Can we not go there?
But that's where I was going.
Okay. Giselle, shut the hell up.
You'll
see Tom Brady out here coming at your job and saying, "Oh, well, her shoes didn't really match her dress." You see Tom Brady not doing that? No. Shut up. Then shut up. Mind your business. That's my argument. That's all I had to say about that.
The NFL and the NHL are both contact sports. So I think that concussions are going to always go undiagnosed in them until players stand up and say, no matter what, when we get hit to the head as a player organization, as the NFLPA or as the NHL players organization, until they step up and say, hey, we want internal people from us to be taking it out of our hands. Until it's taken out of the players' hands on their own, it's never actually going to fully be diagnosed the right way. I think everyone, including you and I, agree on that. I don't doubt Giselle what she says.
Shut up.
I don't doubt that Crosby probably had a concussion just 2 weeks after he was pulled out of games for concussion-like symptoms, after banging his head off the boards. I don't know the answer, because my bigger thing is, 20 years from now, is Crosby going to be part of a lawsuit towards the NHL about concussions?
Sure.
That's a problem to me. He decided. He looked at the trainer and said, I feel all right. Mm-hmm. He's the one who's making this decision to not go through the concussion protocol. Brady is the one deciding if he goes through the concussion protocol or not. Jeremy Maclin probably doesn't get to make that decision, is my bigger point.
Yeah.
But if Brady and Crosby are part of lawsuits in the future, it creates a very bad situation for their current leagues.
Welcome to the hypocrisy of sports.
My bigger issue is that us as fans would be really mad, right? Like, I'm not a Penguins fan by any imagined stretch. So if they would have said, hey, Crosby looks like he might have a concussion, we're going to pull him out of the game, I'd be alright with it. But Penguins fans would not be. And if you like the Patriots, and in the middle of that Super Bowl, Brady took a hit. No, you know what? Real life example. The Edelman hit a couple of years ago against the Seahawks, when he clearly, you or I don't have to be spotters or medical doctors to know that he wasn't walking straight from sideline, or from hash mark to sideline, right? It looked like he was walking like back and forth like he was drunk. Do you remember the hit?
No.
Oh, really? Okay, in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks a couple years ago.
I don't need an explanation.
Edelman took a hit.
Okay, yes.
He was wobbling onto the sideline, came back to play after.
Cool. I don't know. I don't remember. Sure. What about it?
That's a problem.
It is a problem.
I can see that from my TV. I'm not a doctor. I can see it from just watching him on TV. He clearly had not a concussion. Well, he had concussion-like symptoms. I'm not saying, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if he had concussion. I know he had concussion-like symptoms enough that would keep somebody out the rest of the game, but it happened to be the Super Bowl. It happened to be in the middle of the fourth quarter, and they happened to be driving down for a touchdown, where he caught the touchdown pass 5 plays later, granted.
I'm glad you took that deep breath that you needed about 20 minutes ago.
I already stated how until the players come to the conclusion of fixing it's not going to be fixed. Is there another way? Like, the NHL in and of itself ignores the fact of the concussion thing. So
is the NFL forever.
Not as much as the NHL. The NHL and I have a way bigger problem than the NFL and I do. The NFL and I have a small problem with the whole concussion thing. The NHL and I, man, they're going to be in some trouble in the next 5 to 10 years. Like, the NHL is going to be in some trouble because they just act like they don't exist.
That's not what I hear. All I hear about how the NFL is a problem. Nobody talks about the NHL.
Because no one likes the NHL like me.
Yep.
It's a very rare thing. Most 9 out of 10 sports fans in America don't watch the NHL. So I mean, I watch the NHL, but 1 out of 10 of us all do. So there you go. They're gonna have a bigger problem in the NFL because at least the NFL acknowledges that concussions can hurt you long term and might be part of why these guys.
It now because they don't have a freaking choice.
Obviously, the NHL haven't been forced. They haven't been pigeonholed to that legally yet.
Nope.
They will be soon.
Maybe.
That causes an issue for a guy like me who was a fan of it.
But you're still gonna watch us like you still watch the NFL. Just saying.
Sadly.
That's how outraged you are.
Sadly. I never said I was outraged. I just because I think it's
the
on the
joke.
players.
That's the joke. Relax.
I think it's on the players, not the league.
That's the joke.
I think it's on the players, not the league.
That was the joke, folks.
Do you think it's on the players?
Oh my god.
I get the joke. I'm asking, do you think that this whole don't sign up for it if you don't want that repercussion type thing? Like, I don't know how to explain it. I just think that it's on the players that know the information that they know now.
You just answered your own question.
No, I'm asking to you.
You literally just answered your own question. What are you
So
asking me?
Do you think it's on the players of the league?
You literally just answered your own question. Yeah, it's on them. Yeah,
You think it's on the players?
More so, yeah, because they know. In 2017,
So do I.
You know what the hell the risks are. Is it the responsibility?
But the league's still going to get sued.
Is it the responsibility of everybody else to protect the players from themselves? Yes. But you know what you're getting into. It's 2017.
And I
There's
agree.
no secret. I don't care what freaking sport
Because
you're
so
in.
many people want to hold this on the
That's
owners,
stupid.
on the league,
That's
on the
stupid. Who?
fans mainly,
Idiots, man.
fans mainly.
Idiots.
They want to hold this on the players or they want to hold this on the league and on the owners.
Idiots.
I don't think it's the owners of the league. I think that the owners in the league need to take a little responsibility to understand that, hey, this is going to hurt them long term. But I don't think that they need to be the ones to say, well, we should have told them before they walked out there that they're, might not be the same. I don't think it takes a genius to realize that they're not going to be the same before they walk out there. They're playing a contact sport. There's a reason contact sports don't exist in other countries except for America, and in case of football and hockey in Canada as well now. But even the Canadian Football League isn't as brutal as the NFL. So you agree it's on the players? Because I'm finding I'm on the rare side of thinking that the players need to step up, and if they feel like they need to protect themselves from the concussion stuff a little more, then they need to hire outside sources to be standing with them, with the team, with the league that has nothing to do with the team, with the league, or with them to say, yeah, he needs to get pulled off, or yeah, no, he doesn't need to get pulled off. Whether the league has it in place, whether the boards count as much as the ice, whether a hit counts as much as...
Yes.
Okay.
The answer was yes.
So we
3 minutes ago.
No, I mean, because a lot of people disagree with me on that, though. And you're a smart person, so that's why we have this show together, and that's why you agree with me, because you can see past...
I agree with you 3 minutes ago.
You can see past the black and white of this that most people can't. Like, there is a gray area that people just can't ever enter into.
That gray area shit.
I mean, that's where we are in America, obviously, in general.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to say no. Because that's a whole nother 45-minute conversation. Legitimately, not even exaggeration.
So there's no other sports you have for me this week?
No, it's
None.
over. No, it's over.
At all?
No, it's over. No.
That's it?
It's so over.
We're done.
Yes. The show wasn't supposed to go long.
But I could keep going.
We know. High strong. You're
There's so much baseball.
High strong Jared Hood.
Because, I could talk about sports.
We know.
24/7.
We know. High strong. That's your new name. Just next week when we do the intros, be like, I'm high strong. This is Dwight. Yeah.
Nope.
High strong.
So you don't think Aaron Judge can hit 40? Because, I think he gets to, 36. Home run wise. He's at 17 already, which is incredible for May, whatever we're at. You don't think he gets to 40 either? I don't think he gets to 40. Dwight said no. I have nothing to do with baseball, is basically what I got with that. So next week we'll talk about hopefully Ottawa versus the Predators in the NHL. but most likely Anaheim versus Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And then Boston versus San Antonio in the finals.
So done with you.
Cleveland and Golden State in the finals, most likely. Good news is, between now and the next time we record, both series should be over in the NBA. And then we'll still have a couple days until the NBA Finals even starts, because they like to wait 14 days till they start usually. It's going to be 11. If both series end, well, I guess both series can end in 4 now. So if one series ends in 4 and the other one ends in 5, we'll have 9 days off from the last game till the NBA Finals.
He put that all together himself, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that an NBA problem?
Christ's sake.
Is that an us problem? Are we just impatient?
Did we already answer this?
We are impatient. But I still think the NBA should play every other night. The NHL is a more physical sport and they play every other night. And I don't even think that they should play every other night, nor do I think the NBA should play every other night, because I think that both are physical and both need some time off. I just find it odd.
You're exhausting.
At least I don't have like crazy hot takes like people on TV do. Like, I can talk sports all day, and it annoys you.
Know.
But at least I'm not like...
Yes, my man just legitimately, and he was...
Boston beat Cleveland on the road, so Boston's the greatest team. Like, the hot takes that you see on TV the day after. Like, at least I'm realistic, even though I can talk all day about it.
All day, by himself.
I could.
All by himself.
But I don't want to talk about myself all day about it. I'd rather with you sitting next to me.
Suffering.
I mean, maybe suffering, but hopefully we do this for a living one day and it's not so suffering.
No, at least I'm getting paid for it.
You will get paid to listen to me talk about nothing.
That'd be beautiful.
You would like that. You'd probably engage my nothing a little more.
Yeah.
Not a lot, just a little.
Be more drunk.
You have no wrestling to give me?
No. Are we done? Like, fuck. He's been going on his 15-minute closing statement for 15 minutes.
I was going to ask you...
Are we done? Are we done? What are we still talking about?
I was going to ask you one last thing.
What?
Does McGregor trying to call Floyd out mean anything? Thank you for watching JD Sports. I'm Jared Hood. That's Dwight.
He's with it and Cheetos.